Aviv, the administrative capital of Israel. To the south, further along the shore, is Jaffa, part of the Tel Aviv area. The Jewish population at first lived in Jaffa, largely an Arab town. But in the early 20th century, the Jews built themselves a new city close by. Tel Aviv was created in 1909. Today, Tel Aviv Jaffa boasts 10 kilometers of beaches reserved for swimming and various nautical activities. Yaakov Shavit is a history professor at Tel Aviv University.
Tel Aviv
is not burdened by its historical past. The people who came here wanted to create a modern city. For religious reasons, there is no public transport on Shabbat. It's a city with traditional elements, but basically it's both European and Hebrew. It has always had a European lifestyle and cultural institutions. It was able to create itself as a completely new town.
One
of our greatest poets, Natan Alterman, contributed to the mythology of Tel Aviv by saying that the Mediterranean Sea was Tel Aviv's bathtub, as people came down to wash in it. Bathing in the sea was originally for health reasons. Then came leisure and free time activities, a European concept that emerged in the 19th century, first on the beaches of France and England, then along the shores of the Black Sea and Israel. The population here adopted these seaside activities, and they dreamed of a sort of double destiny for Tel Aviv, with a port to replace the port at Jaffa, and a centre for seaside leisure, with a beach, a lido, and public baths. Generally, seaside towns only develop a single activity, based on leisure, and Tel Aviv was no exception to this. The small port that was opened in 1936 never really attained its objectives. Tel Aviv was and still is a seaside resort town. Bathing rapidly became very popular in Tel Aviv, and laws were established concerning decent behavior on the beach. During World War II, there were Allied soldiers here. English, French, Australian, and others. The beach was like the red light district in Tel Aviv, with cabarets and gambling and prostitutes, just like in all the world's major ports, including Jewish prostitutes. Tel Aviv has been both loved and hated ever since it was created.
Tel Aviv's historical center, known as the White City, has a similar Art Deco style to Miami. It was the work of young architects from Eastern Europe, influenced by the Bauhaus. With their fluid lines, rounded balconies, giant portholes, and white and pastel facades, the city's Art Deco buildings are immediately recognizable. Today, the area is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It is the middle of summer 2006. War has once again broken out in Lebanon. Israel is bombing Beirut. And yet, Tel Aviv and its beaches appear to be concentrated on enjoying themselves. You can hear many languages here. Hebrew, Russian, French, English, a cheerful Tower of Babel. Despite everything, the Expoza family cannot conceal their anxiety.
It's true that I'm a little afraid. The sea is a place to have fun, and it was here that I spent my childhood. But for some time now, it's been more stressful. Suspicious bags have been found and a number of people arrested. In cases like that, we're asked to evacuate the beach. It's very difficult to make it secure and to constantly keep watch, left and right. But at the same time, it's difficult not to come here in the summer. The sea is very much a part of me, and I don't want my child to grow up in a climate of fear. I want to go back to normal life as much as possible. Even during the war, we keep coming to the beach, and we will go on doing so. I don't think it will prevent me from coming. But when we go to the beach, we pray that we'll make it back in one piece.
Despite the wars and the attacks, Tel Aviv has always, by principle, displayed a certain joie de vivre and serenity. The beach is an emblematic place, a sort of sanctuary, ideally peaceful and far removed from the tensions of conflict. These young French tourists would never dream of foregoing their vacation in Israel.
The Israelis are quite direct and also quite secretive. They don't have any time to lose because they undergo so much in relation to the war, because of the fact of living in a country at war, and they are constantly being affected. They don't have time to waste. They need to live, because when you come up against the war, everything is completely different. When you take the bus, and you know that at any moment someone could get on, well, your life just hangs by a thread.
Il y a un réel bien-être à se retrouver en Israël.
It's very fulfilling to be here in Israel, to be in the land of your ancestors, to be in harmony with my Jewish identity. The majority of my non-Jewish friends tried to persuade me that, in view of what's happening in northern Israel, I should cancel my trip. But I didn't want to do that, because I'm determined to spend at least 1 week a year in Israel. I think I need that, and I think that Israel needs it too. It's a very festive city. There are a lot of bars and clubs both along the beach and in the city itself. It's a very lively city. People know how to party and have a good time.
Gil Arroyo is in charge of the beaches for the Tel Aviv Jaffa Council.
After a period of intifada, when tourism suffered a severe decline, the sector is again seeing a lot of visitors. People come to the sea for some peace and quiet and to relax. We try to implement an invisible security system.
Indeed, those who expect to see organized security will be disappointed. There are very few uniformed police, but a good many in plain clothes, blending in with the crowd. Despite everything, from time to time, one can notice a few signs of the constant vigilance. Reassuring the population and imposing the rules of hygiene and behavior on the beach are the uniformed police's principal missions.
Send me the patrol with the workmen. It's a routine job, like on any public beach. There's obviously a lot of litter and mess. People come down here to sleep. Part of our job is to make sure they leave the beaches so that the citizens can come here to sunbathe in peace and quiet. Hello. How you doing? Time to wake up. Where are you from?
I'm homeless from Beersheba.
Do you have ID?
Yeah, but it's in the car.
Who's the child?
My son. Why are you filming?
Your son? Why are you sleeping here?
Hey, it's a public beach.
There's a lot going on here, and a lot of people come from all over Israel, but from around the world too. Tel Aviv is a country on its own. It's a real melting pot, a real potpourri. In general, the beaches are calm, there aren't many problems, and to help us in our job, we have police officers, in plain clothes or in uniform, and mounted police too. We also have security arrangements. At about 2 o'clock in the morning, we begin the security cleanup with the tractor which plows the sand over to make sure there are no bombs. Wherever the tractor can't go, we do it by hand. All this is done for the citizens' security so that no one gets hurt by a broken bottle, for example. I think we have the cleanest beaches in the world and the nicest.
On the beach in Tel Aviv, there's no question of mixing. Everyone has his own little patch of sand. Lifeguard Eliakim knows all the secrets and local customs.
There's the beach for the young people, then the beach for the gays who come down here, and over there behind the lifeguard post is the part reserved for families with children. Over the past 4 years, everything possible has been done so that the handicapped can have access to the sea too. And they have parasols set up so they can get some shade with their wheelchairs. A lot of retired people start the day by coming to the beach. They come between 6 and 7 for their morning swim. They have a shower and then go back home. The City Hall fixes the prices, like the sunbeds, for example, the chairs and the parasols. We have the same prices on all the beaches, so that everyone can take advantage without any discrimination, so that everyone can be seated comfortably at the seaside. It's the same price for everyone. For Israelis or for tourists, it's the same.
Everyone has his own beach, even the dogs.
If you have dogs, welcome to the beach dogs. If you have a religion, come.
I'll tell you about the beach for religious people. Because of their request to have a separate beach, as they wanted to respect the moral code in line with religious beliefs, the City Hall marked out a beach with a fence, and then they designated specific days. So Sunday, Tuesday and Thursday are the days when only the women go swimming, and Monday, Wednesday and Friday are for the men. Like that, everyone has their own day, and everyone's happy. It's been like that for a long time, for more than 20 or 25 years. For Shabbat, it's open house, and open to the whole public. There's no pre-selection on Shabbat. Everyone is welcome.
Beaches for every community, or almost. For one group has no place here, the Arabs, even those with Israeli nationality. To find the Arabs, you have to leave Tel Aviv and head for the other end of the beach in Jaffa. Here you can hear Arabic spoken as well as Hebrew. Walid is part of the Arab-Israeli community. He's lived in Jaffa for a long time.
I live close to the beach, just 50 meters away, and I come here often. It's a very nice beach. Arabs, Jews, Christians. We live here in peace and quite happily. During the Intifada and the wars, every period and event that hurts my religion hurts me too. I feel it within me, and it causes me pain. Look around, it affects all of us here. We Arabs, of course, but the others too. Arabs and Jews live together. There's no war, no conflicts, and no problems. I used to be a lifeguard on this beach. We'd sit down, have a drink together, and go on living together. We, the people, could live and mix together with no problems. But in politics, everyone tries to justify their own position, and that's the problem.
Rifat Turk also lives here in Jaffa. A former football star, he was the first Israeli Arab to play in Israel's national team and the first to represent his country at the Olympic Games in Montreal in 1976. Today he works in the Tel Aviv City Hall.
These are my medals from taking part. I think every sportsman is prepared to do anything to participate in the Olympics. It's the summit of any sportsman's career. There's nothing better. Jaffa is a city where Arabs and Jews have learned to live together. To say that there are no problems would not be true. People live together well, but the state and the authorities do nothing to help things. They do the opposite. They do their utmost to separate us, and that's the state's big mistake. The Arabs don't have the same rights. They don't receive the consideration that they should, and that causes problems. So ultimately, you can't stop people thinking. They help them because they're Jewish, and they don't help us because we're Arabs. I was lucky to get into football, and I did the best I could. I'm naturally optimistic. God wants us all to live on this planet together. So we should live in peace. We should all love one another.
Elda and Gabi are two Jewish sisters who grew up in Jaffa. Despite the conflict, they wouldn't dream of leaving their neighborhood and the beach where they grew up.
My mother was a dancer and a dance teacher. She taught near the beach. She loved swimming. So when we were little, we'd come to the beach every day. In Tel Aviv and Jaffa, the sand is the best and most pleasant of all the beaches and of all the seas I've seen. The sand is really nice to touch and feel against your body. During the Gulf War and other wars, the sea was my last refuge, like for a lot of people in Tel Aviv. The sea is our last refuge, in wartime and in peacetime.
This is called the Aliyah Beach. We try to make it a mixed beach with Arabs and Russians, people of all origins. I don't like it when it's homogeneous, when only a single category of people comes. I like to mix. I think it's good. And I think that's how we should live in Israel. It's a marvelous example of peace. If you move the camera, you can see women in traditional clothing because, by tradition, they're not allowed to get undressed.
The sea is able to appease your spirit. You can come here angry or worked up, but you go into the sea, you sit down, you watch the waves and the rocks, and everything's okay. The sea is the greatest of God's gifts. I've made a lot of friends on the beach, a lot of Jewish friends. And our friendship was built thanks to the sea. 90% of my friends today are Jewish. But I don't choose them because of their identity papers, but because I like them as people, individually.
We return to Tel Aviv. After the excitement of the beach or a hard day's work, it's time to prepare for the evening. Instead of prayer, certain non-believers prefer a kind of spiritual meditation involving body language, feet firmly planted on the sand.
תפתחו את הידיים ושלא תיגעו באף אחד אחר, אוקיי? שיהיה לכם מקום בין אחד לשני, אוקיי?
Temi is in charge of this activity, a vital way of relaxing, of finding focus.
1 hour before sunset is an activity available to everyone for free. People finish work or their studies. They come to the beach, turn up their trousers, and relax for an hour in one way or another. Zen meditation or Buddhist meditation. In each case, it's meditation with movement, active or otherwise. But the main objective is to evacuate stress and find inner peace. 1 hour before sunset, it gives you new energy for the rest of the evening. It enables you to evacuate stress and anger here on the beach before going home.
Night falls. It is Shabbat today. It begins at nightfall on Friday and ends at sunset on Saturday. Like every Friday, the Expoza family gathers around a traditional meal. At one point or another, questions of security are bound to crop up.
When they go off to have fun, do you get worried?
Do I get worried? Of course I get worried. Anywhere they go, I'm worried. Either in terms of security or just whatever can happen when you go out. But we can't keep them locked up at home. And I always hope they'll have a good time. They have to be able to do what they want, to have fun.
We give our children a free hand. You can't tell children of that age not to go out because you're afraid. It wouldn't be right.
We don't have a choice. In any case, life goes on. Life is stronger than we are.
And so the evening will be festive as usual.
You went into a bar. Weren't you afraid? There was no security at the door.
Listen, what you see on TV and what happens in Tel Aviv are two completely different things. The panic you see on television doesn't exist everywhere. There aren't security guys everywhere. You see, you can walk into a bar here and have a good time. Everything happens quite normally. It's the height of the season and everyone has left their problems behind.
Doesn't what you see on TV influence your daily life?
I'm sure people think about it. Of course it goes through your mind, but that doesn't mean that we're just going to stay at home. People talk about it a bit, but we just keep on living our lives.
Even at night, the beach at Tel Aviv continues to be a place where people meet and enjoy themselves. They don't talk about war or religion. It's a time for leisure and pleasure. When the beach's annual film festival takes place during the summer nights, everyone's daily problems are forgotten. But the security men are ever watchful.